Welcome to episode 5 of Ragtag Bag of Bastards. So, been a little while since we played, although hopefully you won't notice that because we had a bit of a backlog. But, it's good to be back. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Yay!
Fantastic. I just babysat 10 kids and I'm tired.
My foot might be broken. Yay!
Wait, seriously?
I don't know. It's still hurting.
That
Ow.
sucks.
Can you walk on it?
Yeah, with a limp.
You're fine.
Yeah, if it were broken, you would not be able to walk on it.
No, you'd be lying on the ground going, somebody come get me.
Yeah.
It's a story for another day, but I have had a broken foot and walked on it for like a week. So
Was it broken or was it fractured?
It
I've
was-
walked on a fractured foot before.
it was broken, and the doctor said it was broken. But it's a story for another day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can compare pain tolerance later.
Yeah, I'm on a time crunch today, so.
Right. Alright, so let's get into it. So, I'm Proven Paradox, I'm the DM, hello. KQ, introduce.
Hi, I'm KQ. I'm playing Alezi the Barbarian, and I'm excited to be back.
Red, go.
I'm Red. I'm playing Rhodes the Paladin, and I just woke up like an hour ago.
So did I. Scott, go.
I'm Scott, and I play Flynn, the half-elf rogue, and I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn all morning.
I can think of worse ways to spend the morning. Renee, go.
Hi, I'm Renee, and I play Oona, the Tiefling Bard. If we're doing random facts about ourselves, I have not slept at all because fanfiction.
Haha, dork.
And
Were you
proud
reading
of
My
it.
Immortal?
Yes, it's gotta be the best reread of the year.
Wow.
I've never read my
Moving swiftly on. So, let's get straight into it. Last time, we had a big brawl-up episode where Alezi and Flynn went into the Blood in the Sand tournament to qualify for non-lethal, but very important there, non-lethal blood sport that is going on in Shadeside, the Blood in the Sand fighting ring. So, Flynn went in with weapons and got his ass beat. It was brutal and satisfying on the DM side. Alezi went in brawling, fists only, and did very respectably, coming in second place and only just barely losing that last fight. The proprietress of the tournament definitely wanted Alezi to come to do more fighting for her in later tournaments, but that's not going to be for another week. While you were there, you met Rhodes, a paladin of the lover, who was part of healing duty to make sure that nobody actually died during these fights. And it turned out Rhodes and Alezi had some background with each other, and afterwards they decided to go back to the inn together to catch up on old times. Some conversation happened while you guys were at the inn, and when we left, a officer of the Leyline Police, who Alezi and Oona would know as Officer Williams, came in and sat down next to you with an unclear purpose. So let's just pick right up where we were. So let me get the notes back up. Officer Williams. So this is going to be the first time that Rhodes or Flynn have seen her. She's a tall woman, about 5'10", currently in plate with no helm. The plate has been, you can see scuff marks and dents and a few spots of imperfection where it has actually seen use, but by and large, it looks to be well maintained and very practical. She has short black hair, tan skin, and looks to be in her late 30s, early 40s, somewhere in there. So she walks in and sits down at the table like she owns the place. Looks around to each of you and goes, "Right. Hello. I hope you all are doing well this night."
And yourself?
She looks at Rhodes, seems a bit surprised and goes, "Hello there. I have a bit of history, I suppose, with these others, and I was just wanting to come and speak with them."
Rhodes looks around the table at the rest of the group and goes, should I give you a moment?
Alezi chimes in and says, I don't think that's gonna be necessary. Williams, right?
That's right, and I agree. Actually, you might be interested in what I'm about to say as well. Uh, last we spoke, you three were under suspicion regarding your trip to the Northern Ridge, which is not a place that one typically goes without nefarious cause. For Rhodes' benefit, the Northern Ridge is a part of the crater that lines Leyline. Leyline City is built in an impact crater, and so the Northern Ridge is the northern portion of that crater. And it is known as a place for, well, first of all, it's a place where boogeymen come out. So if parents have children who are misbehaving, they might try to scare them straight by talking about creatures who'll sneak out of the Northern Ridge and come find them at night. That sort of thing. Perfectly not true, but it's still the sort of thing that parents might use to scare their children. What is true is that it is a place known for gangs and bandits to hide out when they need to. And there are rumors of creatures who live there that are quite dangerous. And the group can attest that that is potentially quite true. But you wouldn't have heard that story yet, I think.
Can I
Anyway.
ask a question, though?
Hmm?
Can I
What's
ask
up?
Isn't Leyline a city floating on rocks?
No. There are portions of Leyline that are on floating islands, such as Skyside, which is currently directly above you. But a lot of the city is on the ground as well. Because the city is naturally limited to the inside of the crater, the city builds up and down rather than outward.
Did you ever establish what created the crater?
No.
Okay.
It's something that might be a plot line later or something. I don't know. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not going to come up or anything. Anyway, yes. Any other questions?
If I can speak out of turn to help Red build this visual image, I imagine it as sort of Midgar from Final Fantasy VII.
Doesn't
That's
help me even a little bit.
well, for what it's worth. In fact, that's pretty apt. Except instead of technologically held up, it would be Magitech held up. But yeah, you guys are in a part of town that's in constant shadow and is kind of run down. And above you is a floating island that is home to nobility.
Cool.
So, yeah, it's a rundown part of town. There'd be pipes and the like everywhere, conveying mana as needed to the various lamplights and the various utilities. Any other questions before I continue for Williams?
No.
Okay. Cool. So no time has actually passed as I gave that explanation of background information that your characters would already know. Williams continues. So, I spoke to Mr. Metalmender a bit about the situation, and he helped clear things up a fair bit.
I love that guy. Salt of the earth.
He was a big dude made of rocks, and he was amazing. And he's friends with my grandma, and he's amazing. And that's all you need to know, Red.
Was that said in character or out of character? Because you ended that with Red.
I did end that with Red. Then I'm gonna say it was in character, and I called Rhodes Red for no apparent reason.
He's very
Rhodes does have a lot of red on his armor, I think, so that's fine.
Right.
Anyway, Williams continues, yes, Mr. Metalmender works with the police once in a while. We've asked him to create specialized equipment on occasion. He clarified what the situation was, and vouched for all of you, although he did say to keep an eye on you, and she looks to Flynn.
That's fair.
Alright, so, if it's all cleared up and everything, why are you here?
I was getting to that. We also, of course, have a presence at the Blood in the Sand events, just to make sure they don't get too rowdy, you understand. And one of my men stated that you fought quite admirably, and she looks to Alezi. Between these, I was thinking that perhaps you would be interested in some work for the police department.
Huh. Well, I don't know about these to, and she kind of looks at Rhodes for a second, not knowing if he's a part of this, and she continues, but I would have to know a little more about what I'd be doing.
Of course, of course. So, tell me what you know of the drain. Go ahead and roll history checks if you want to know something about the drain. Rhodes, given that you have lived in Leyline longer than the others, you will have advantage on this roll.
Cool. How do I do that again?
You can either type in your roll twice, or you can do two hashtag 1d20 to roll for advantage.
Alezi knows nil.
Yeah, Alezi don't know shit. Alright.
Flynn might know a little.
Flynn knows a bit. Oona knows a little more.
Yay, history buff.
Okay, should I go ahead and mute? Or deafen?
Yeah, you should. Okay. So, Alezi is deafened. Good. Okay, so Alezi doesn't actually know, but, everyone else, you would know that the drain is a section of southern Leyline. It's called that because it's next to the Leyline River, and because of an error in the way the canals that guide the river and the levees were constructed, the river water seeps into the soil a fair bit. So anywhere that you're on unworked ground in the drain, it's going to be muddy. And it is known. So Shadeside is a shady, rough part of town. The drain is an actively hostile part of town. This is where cartels and gang lords really have run of the place. It is like, if you want to be involved in some real criminal enterprises, then the drain is probably where you need to go. At this point, I need Flynn to mute himself. Flynn is muted. Okay. So the others would know of rumors that it's not necessarily just human crime enterprises that are going on in the drain. These are just rumors, but this is also a place where, because gangs have control of things, the police department and the Reavers, which is a group of paladins, basically. We can go more into the Reavers later. But they're another law enforcement agency. They're not welcome in the drain. And so, because a group of holy fighters such as the Reavers are not typically going to be seen there, supposedly this is a place where non-humans will hide to do their things. We're talking about intelligent undead primarily. There are rumors that vampires, for example, control some of the criminal activity there. And that's my info dump. Do either of you have questions? Because you guys rolled high enough that you would be able to ask a few.
Ooh. Would a paladin walking in be actually actively targeted?
If they're displaying a whole lot of symbolism stating that they're like the smite evil sort of paladin, they might. However, first off, Rhodes is not part of the Reavers as far as I know. And the Reavers have their own symbology. So, first off, by not being part of the Reavers, that would lower the chance of Rhodes being targeted. Also, the drain is a place where prostitution is quite popular, and the lover is also a patron of prostitutes. She is not a prostitute herself, but the lover actually will send healers to tend to sex workers to prevent the spread of disease and the like. So
if
they're
it's not out of the question that Rhodes has been there?
Rhodes might have been there a time or two. It's not a common thing, I would say, but Rhodes might have been there, and again, a paladin, as far as paladins go, they're usually not welcome, but a paladin of the lover, they might make an exception.
Cool.
I don't have any questions.
Alright, I think that's it.
Hi, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Hey. Alright, so, Williams just asked you to ask what you know of the drain.
Lots of bad guys, lots of mud. Not a really fun place. That's about all I know.
The look on Alezi's face, it's very obvious that she has no idea what she's talking about.
Rhodes chimes in with, I've been there on less than a handful of times.
Williams looks Rhodes over and goes, well, that might be useful then. So, to clarify, and she glances to Alezi as she says this, the police department are not welcome there. And we have need of someone who can do some investigation for us. Someone that typically would not be associated with that place was last reported heading there. It was a dwarven man of some import to certain people. His name was Stonekill, and he was last seen entering the drain for reasons that we have not yet ascertained. We're still looking for more, and hasn't been seen for 3 days.
Can I insight check her to make sure she doesn't actually know why he went in there?
Yes, you may.
And while he's doing that, you said, is it Stone Kiln or Stone Kill?
Kiln, as
Okay.
in where you fire pottery.
Okay, because I was sitting here giggling at Stonekill. Murder this rock.
I mean, I'm sure I'm sure that's a very dwarven thing.
Golems exist.
Womp womp womp. All right, yeah. Flynn, you actively are confused about everything right now. You're still a little bit punch drunk from getting your shit knocked up in the ring. So yeah, you don't know. So she continues. We would like a team of independent investigators, if you understand, to search for Mr. Stonekill.
What's this guy's standing? Is he wanted for anything, or?
He's a contributor to various altruistic agencies, which is a code word for he's a noble who pays for the police department.
Not to be brusque, but I'm sure Mr. Metalmender told you that we're trying to make this a professional thing, so we don't exactly work for free, I guess is
Understood.
the word we're saying.
Yes, I understand. If you bring him back safely, we will give you 700 gold pieces between all of you, as in a pot for all of you to divide. If you give us information as to his fate, we will give you 500 gold pieces.
So if he's already dead, we get less?
Well, yes, because that's of less value to us.
I mean, generally speaking, people are more valuable alive than dead.
I mean, that seems fair to me, and doing a job for the police is a pretty honorable thing. I don't see why
Indeed.
I wouldn't take the job.
And of course, your service would be noted and would put you in good standing with the local police.
That's always valuable.
Alezi's looking to Oona, because she's been pretty quiet, uncharacteristically.
I think this could be an interesting opportunity.
Sounds like fun to me.
Williams looks to Rhodes and says, while I was not intending to get a fourth involved in this, you are open to this as well. I believe a servant of the lover would do quite well in this mission, as the lover is quite well respected in that area.
Alezi turns to Rhodes and she says, might be helpful to have you along. What do you say? You wanna come and join us for old times?
I was going to offer my services in this endeavor, regardless if I was invited. You're going to need somebody watching your back, and I have a rudimentary understanding of the drain. Besides, it's about time.
I side glance at Rhodes and say, "Is that all you're going to be watching?"
I don't understand.
Just ignore him.
Oh, asses. You're talking about your...
Yes, he's talking about asses. Williams is totally deadpanning.
Right. Well, I'm going to be quiet now.
Well, if you're accepting, then that is a tremendous relief. So here is his last known location, and she gives you directions and talks about a tavern / bordello known as the crap, I have to remember. I have to come up with names on the fly. I should have come up with this earlier.
The crap I have to remember?
Just call it penis and be done with.
No, I you can't see it, but I'm glaring at Scott right now. Why am I having a hard time with this name? Names usually are not my problem.
Drunken Weasel. That was the bar that I painted in town for monies. Use that.
You know what? Sure. A tavern known as the Drunken Weasel. I'm not even joking. Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. I'm gonna tell them they're in a D&D campaign.
Yeah, go for it.
But wouldn't it not be that one, since Alezi knows literally nothing about the drain?
Well, Alezi doesn't know this tavern.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought you were saying Alezi.
We're mixing up real life and D&D at the moment.
Yeah, I
No,
thought you were saying
I
Alezi
painted in real life a bar in town.
Yeah, the Drunken Weasel. That's a perfectly good bar name for this setting.
Okay.
Williams is there and still and goes, do you have any questions before I return to my patrol?
So you know literally no reason he might have gone to this tavern.
Well, there are the obvious reasons one would go to a tavern in the drain, which is to say he was looking for prostitutes.
Why would you go to a tavern for a prostitute?
It's a tavern
Rhodes
/ bordello.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say Rhodes gives Oona a weird look.
There are many such She was just going to say there are many such establishments in the drain.
That sounds reasonable. You said his name was Stonekiln, right?
Yes.
Can I do a something check to see if I know anything about him?
That would be history still. And you may. And others may as well if they want to.
Okay, which check is it?
History.
History.
I'm gonna go ahead and do that as well.
Alright, so that's 17 for Oona, 15 for Rhodes,
Oh, okay.
10 for Alezi. Oh, and a natural 20 for Flynn. So, let's start, everybody gets a little bit. So, you would all know that Stonekiln is a patriarchal house of minor nobility among the dwarves. They mostly hold sway in Kane, which is the dwarven nation. So, not entirely clear with this result what he's doing in Leyline. At this point, I need Alezi to def it. Alright, so, you lot would know that he is basically a lobbyist. He has come on behalf of his family at from Kane to speak to the Eldar Senate about matters that concern the dwarves. He's one of the main representatives of, or rather his house. You don't know if this is the main representative or one of his relatives who live here. But you know that Stonekiln is the name of one of the main representatives of Canish interests in the Eldar Senate. And at this point, we have questions. Like you guys all rolled high enough that you can ask some clarifying questions. Flynn, you're going to get a little bit more in a minute.
Okay.
What would be what would be considered dwarven interests that they would need to consult the Eldar Senate for?
Well, maintaining trade routes for one. So Kane is mostly export-based. They export a lot of metals and import a lot of food. And a lot of that food is going to come from Eldamir because it has a lot of fertile farmlands. So trade routes, favorable trade rules, and occasionally requesting aid for various endeavors such as creating new mines or getting some kind of new magical device involved in their mining operations. That kind of thing. It's fairly mundane things.
I'm guessing you're not going to be able to give me this, but do I know why he might be in the city now?
Well, we don't know who he is. We didn't ask which Stonekiln it was.
Yeah, you don't know which Stonekiln it is, but I mean, as far as why he's in the city, again, because he's his family at least is a lobbying group.
Lobbyist.
Yes.
Heh, shakes fist in air.
At this point, I believe it is time for everyone but Flynn to deafen. All right. So, Flynn, it's just you and me now. So, with a natural 20, I'm going to say you have some personal history.
I was thinking we could say that that family has done business with my father.
Yeah, I was going to say either that or you have stolen from them at some point. But business with your father is probably the safer bet. Which would you prefer?
Business with my father.
All right. So you would have probably met some people of the Stone Kiln clan in back when you were still in Trallendor. You would know that. So dwarves are typically a fairly dour lot. Very traditional, very, very family focused. But the younger generation of the Stone Kilns, you would know 2 brothers and a sister who are the offspring of the current patriarch of the Stone Kiln family. They grew up in Eldemir. They have spent relatively little time in Kane, the Dwarven nation. So they are actually a whole lot more open and human-like than your standard dwarf. In other words, a lot more prone to party.
Okay.
You would know... crap, I should have come up with these names earlier. I didn't prepare for this session as much as I should have. Shut up. Dwarven families have male and female family names, so the daughter is not actually named Stonekiln. So you would know that the daughter is named Farnell Amberweave.
Farnell Amberweave.
That's correct.
And do I know the names of the brothers?
I'm coming up with them right now. Gregor and Gregon Stonekiln.
And do I just know of these people, or have I met them?
I'm going to say that you probably had while their father was dealing with your father, you probably were asked to show them around town and show them a good time in Trallendor. So you probably have partied with these guys once in a while. So you would know that Gregon is the most gregarious of them. So he would you have a good idea that you're probably looking for Gregon.
Nice.
Yeah, and you could recognize it as him. You could recognize him if you saw him.
Cool.
All right. Anything else?
No, I think that's good.
All right, cool.
No.
Hi.
All right, everyone's back. All right, so where was Officer Williams? She had just said that she was asking for questions about for clarifying questions, I think.
Yes.
So, which stone kiln is this?
His name is Gregon Stonekiln, and she gives a quick description. He has black hair. He is actually unusual in dwarven terms in that he's actually shaved most of his beard short. It's a more human style.
Wait. I totally know that guy.
You do?
Do you?
What?
Yeah. I know that guy. I met that guy.
Okay. First off, how did you meet this guy?
When?
Well, oh, shit. Well, I used to live in Trallendor, and he came by there once.
Uh-huh.
Trallendor or Trallendor, both are correct pronunciations. The elves don't really care, but that's the elven nation to the west.
Have we done is this the first time, this is out of character, is this the first time Flynn has talked about being from Trallendor?
I
Second
think
time.
so.
Second time.
Okay.
Second time.
Yeah.
Did we do a history check the first time? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I would like to go ahead and do it then, please.
Okay, cool. This is going to be history checks, the session.
Yes.
You have to have a session of knowing shit.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I am down for this. This is perfect. Go for it.
I know I've asked about it outside of this, so that's why I want
But you're asking me to talk about my setting, okay? All right, so that's a 10 for Oona, or is that an old roll?
No, that's the new one.
Oh, Alezi actually knows something.
What?
Finally.
Alezi does.
I think that makes more sense because isn't oh god, isn't where Leslie's from near it?
Not really, but it's closer. It's a hell of a lot closer than Jowagon.
Yeah.
I think, and oh right, Flynn wouldn't need one because he's just there. So, since Flynn would know about this, you can just automatically stay undeafened for all of this.
Okay.
So we'll start with the basics for everyone, and that is that the elven nation of Tralendor, also pronounced Trelindor, the elves will tell you that both of those are not quite correct, but the elves are also kind of assholes about their pronunciations, so fuck them. Anyway, it is an elven nation. They are very seclusive. They are very secretive. They are supposed to be well known for having some of the most beautiful forests and swamplands in the world. And their cities are built very much in tune with nature. So, they will actually grow homes in the sides of trees and the like. And they generally try to live in tune with the land around them. And at this point, I need Oona to deafen.
Shouldn't I deafen at some point?
Oh wait, you only got a 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should have deafened earlier. Oh well.
Yeah. I'll pretend like I don't remember any of the crap you just told me.
I mean, all you know is that that's the elven nation to the west. You've never really invested. Alright. So now for Alezi and Flynn. Alezi, you would know a bit because you've met elves who are traveling near Northwall.
Uh-huh.
But there's in the past there was conflict between Tralendor and Dalrock, the orc nation to the north. And to this day, orcs are not treated well in Tralendor. So Alezi would definitely know of that just because it concerns her personally.
Uh-huh.
They would probably see Alezi as an orc rather than as a half-breed. So Alezi would not be eager to go there, but the rumors are that they have kind of a caste system, and it has a very, very rigid social structure, and moving between social tiers is possible, but very difficult. You also are aware that there are, in general, 3 types of sub-races of elves that live there. The High Elves, the Wood Elves, and the Night Elves. The Night Elves also being called Drought.
Okay.
You get a little bit of question asking if you want.
I would know the different features from different elves, right?
Yes.
So I would definitely know what type Flynn is.
Half elves might take enough after their human parent that it's hard to tell. That's up to Flynn if Alezi would know what subrace of elf he's descended from.
Flynn? Sorry, you guys
Yeah.
dropped for a second on my call.
Oh, okay. Well, what Flynn said was that he looks more like his mother, and therefore you can't really tell.
Okay,
he takes more after his human side.
On this caste system, is it region based? Like, do the nobles keep with the nobles pretty much?
You wouldn't know necessarily. From what you've heard, that it's fairly distributed, but you do know that they have a monarchy, and it stands to reason that a lot of the noble class would be around the monarch.
Okay. I think that is all of my questions.
Okay, so let's wait a bit for Renee to get back. I'll go ahead and tell everyone done, definitely.
I'm back.
All right, everyone's here now. Okay, so that was the Tralendor check. So we had just got the revelation that Flynn knows this guy from his time in Tralendor.
Wait, how would you know a noble though, Flynn?
Well,
I mean,
he's not like it. It's more like his parents do all the work, and he's like he and his brother and sister. They're like the party kids. So
I will remind you that I am asking you to go to the Drain to investigate a tavern/bordello.
I was going to say, we have evidence that he would go to a brothel. It's not entirely unlikely that he and Flynn would be in the same place.
I didn't know Flynn went to brothels.
I mean, I think that's obvious.
I'm sorry, have we met? I'm Flynn.
I just didn't think
that even gets a chuckle out of Williams.
I guess that's reasonable.
Any other questions?
I'm satisfied.
Well, since we have someone that kind of knows their way around the drain, and we have someone that actually knows this guy, I think we're doing pretty good. I've got no
Yes,
questions.
that's quite fortuitous.
Did you have any leads before you decided to come to us?
Any leads?
Yeah, besides that he disappeared in the drain.
Make a persuasion check.
I check my persuasion.
I probably should have done that.
I watch a lot of murder mysteries.
Can I give her advantage by Alezi talking? Helping her out?
Depends on what you say.
And, okay, Alezi says, oh, yeah, it would be good for us to know. I mean, the more information we have, and the quicker we find him, the more likely he's gonna be alive.
I'll say that's good enough to get an advantage, so you can roll again, Oona.
Yes.
Alright, 16 total. So, Williams is clearly hesitant to say more. She leans in and lowers her voice a bit, and says, based on what we've been able to find from our agents who are stationed in the drain, there's been a persistent rumor of a faction of undead becoming more active in the area. It's a brand of undead that, for some reason, seems to be targeting nobility. We are concerned that Gregan might have gotten involved.
I don't love it.
Do
Indeed.
we, know anything about the, specific type of undead we're working with here?
Unfortunately, no. These are just rumors. They might be completely unfounded.
Right, okay.
Well, you'll definitely need me then.
You know
Yeah.
what we'll need? You know what we'll really need? To rest first.
Of course, you both two of you have been in fighting quite recently, so I don't expect you to do this immediately.
Where
Right,
can we find you?
I definitely need a good night's sleep.
Where can we find you if we have any leads or we have any questions?
You can most easily find me by asking for me at the local police department. They will at least know where I am if I'm not in the barracks immediately.
I know where it is. I can get us there.
Yeah. I think everybody here would know at least have an idea of where it is. I'm not going to require a roll for it.
Yeah, and,
I think
Alezi...
Flynn would be acutely aware of where it is.
Yeah, probably.
Alezi has a trait from her background that your experience in enforcing the law and dealing with lawbreakers gives you a feel for local laws and criminals. You can easily find a local outpost of the Watch or a similar organization just as easily pick out the dens of criminal activity.
Gotcha. Yeah, Alezi would absolutely know, and Flynn has probably spent a night or two there, so... Yeah, so that sounds good. If that is all, I will leave you to your rest.
Yeah, I think I'm good. How about you guys?
Sounds like fun to me.
I think we've got a good start here.
Yes, I should be getting back home sometime soon anyway.
You meet us back here in the morning, Rhodes?
I can do that, yes.
Sounds like a plan.
Well, thank you very much. I wish you luck in this endeavor, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you need help.
Thanks for the job.
And she gets up and walks away.
She's hot.
She does well for her age.
Good, Flynn, that's our employer now.
You'll better get used to that, Rhodes. It's gonna happen a lot.
Upsetting.
Doc, I just realized does Oona know anything about the undead? I didn't think about this.
You can roll religion check.
Can I-
Everyone may do this.
What's
Yeah, everyone can. Religion. Alright, so that's a 12 for Flynn, a 9 for Oona,
It's
a 9 for Rhodes, and a 17 for Alezi. That's a little weird. Okay,
Yeah, I'm trying to justify why she would know that.
well, I mean, Alezi might have, she was town watch, so it's entirely possible that she's dealt with undead before in a very direct way.
True. Maybe they got into the sewers.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways that undead could come up. Like, if you'll remember in the other game, one of the NPCs we were talking about and referring to was a necromancer.
Yep.
I'm assuming Rhodes specialized more in the healing side of
Yeah.
the fighting side.
The lover is not necessarily that concerned with undeath, so that's a lot more of some of the other gods' domain, especially the defender. So
I mean, I guess I should wait to answer my ask my questions.
Yeah, you'll get questions in a minute. What everyone would know is that undead are walking corpses, basically, or sometimes disembodied spirits. So most life is powered rather by a type of mana known as positive energy. Undead are powered by mana called negative energy, and these can basically be called life and death. And so that's really all that it would be commonly known at this point. So I need Oona and Rhodes to go ahead and deafen. Alright, so the most common type of undead are mindless sorts. Skeletons and zombies are the most common. And they are mindless and completely obedient to whatever force created them. This is typically a necromancer, a spellcaster who specializes in manipulating undead. But there are more natural ways they could be created. There are sources of negative energy out there that can animate a corpse without a conscious spellcaster, for example.
Like the rot.
Yeah, that we've had in another game.
Yeah.
But for specific examples, you'd need a higher check than Flynn got. So, Flynn, are there any questions you have before you deafen?
I'm just imagining that I've heard several stories in my teachings in Trillandor growing up.
Yeah,
necromancers and whatnot.
Yeah, you'd hear stories from Trillandor. Necromancers would be especially hated. The elves have no stomach for undeath. They consider it taking something beautiful and making something ugly from it. So the elves are super against necromancy.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was imagining.
Yeah. All right. So at that point, we're going to say, Flynn, you need to die. All right. So Alezi, you would know that there are the two classes of undead, which would be intelligent and unintelligent, are typically viewed very differently. In fact, in Eldamir, it is actually legal under certain circumstances, to animate mindless undead to serve as labor. It may well be that the reason Alezi knows about undeath is that at some point the town guard of Northwall was called to the forests that surround Northwall, where undead laborers are employed as lumberjacks.
Okay.
So, yeah, in Eldamir, mindless undead can be animated, and it's viewed as a distasteful thing to do, but it's not illegal, and as long as a necromancer is keeping their practices to themselves, they'll usually be left alone to do it. You'd also, there are varying feelings towards undeath all over the world. It's like you probably have heard stories of how in Holalone, the desert nation to the east, some tribes actually mummify their honored dead and reanimate them as mummies who serve as advisors to their clans. And so they have a class of undead who are elevated to a position of honor within their tribes.
All right.
You have questions?
Yeah. Would Alezi know if a necromancer summoned the mindless undead for servants? If the mindless ones would be able to actually perform an order so specific as to locate and target nobles only?
That would be very unlikely.
Okay.
Unless there's some sort of universal signifier of what it means to be a noble, the undead would not have the mental capacity to understand that kind of order. And you would know that in Eldamir there is no such symbol.
Okay. I think that is the only question I have.
Excellent. In that case, let's get everyone back.
Oh, thank God, I was forced to confront some things about my own intricacies in that silence. Never again.
I make no promises. All right. So, what's your plan?
Let's all go to sleep.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah, Alezi's just going to finish her whatever drink she has and see Rhodes off before she heads to bed.
Yeah, Rhodes is gonna stand up. Well, this has been entirely lovely, but I need some sleep before we venture into the drain tomorrow. I'll meet here around 6.
Yeah, I'll be up. These two might not be.
That's fine.
I'll make an effort.
Thank you.
No comment.
Well, we'll see you again soon.
Let's check us. Alright, well, this has been absolutely lovely. I don't know if I've emphasized that enough, and I look forward to being of some use tomorrow. I'll see you all then.
Yeah, take care.
And he leaves.
All right, everybody heads off to bed. Rhodes, you live close enough that you can just walk back to your home.
Do I get
And
logged on the way there?
Before we sleep, I'd like to say something for Flynn.
Oh God.
No, it's not oh god worthy. It's
Go on.
Okay, so as soon as I get up to my room and I close the door, I was playing it pretty cool out there, but the last several days have been very hard on Flynn, and just the rush of everything is coming at him. The realization that he's not as strong as he thought because he lost his only fight in that pit fighting, and the realization that, oh shit, he's about to meet someone who actually knows him, and that's scary, and that terrifies him, and also the mix that he's probably gonna have to face undead, which also scares him because of his elvish upbringing and all the stories he's heard growing up.
Yeah.
So all that comes rushing in 1 second, and as soon as he shuts the door, Flynn is going into full-on panic attack mode, and he's basically crying and shoving things, and that eventually devolves into collapsing and exhausted and sleep.
That's so relatable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Totally. It's relatable enough that I'm going to ask you for a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Oh, shit. Okay.
I would say in this case, if you crit fail, it means you're tired enough that...
No, enough.
If I crit fail?
Oh, dear.
Wow.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
Who jinxed him?
Yeah. Alright, so yeah, Flynn, you are plagued with enough self-doubt and fear that I'm going to say you don't sleep well and end up, you wake up, but you have a point of exhaustion.
Okay. But I get my health and spells.
You get all of your health and spells back, but you have a point of exhaustion, which is disadvantage on checks.
That works for me.
Alright, yeah. I mean, that was going to be the result of a failed save anyway, but that is a rather convincing fail, so that's unfortunate. Yeah. So yeah, you're not going you don't really sleep. It's more like a series of half awake nightmares. So that's unfortunate. I'm trying to think if I want to make Alezi roll a save. Yeah, Alezi, I want you to roll a Constitution save.
Okay, that is actually just fine.
Yeah, your con is good enough.
My con save is better.
Mm-hmm.
13.
Yeah, you're fine. So yeah, the pain from the lingering beating makes it so it's a little difficult to sleep, but you do eventually conk out, just completely exhausted.
Awesome.
And you get a good night's sleep. Alright, so the night passes uneventfully for everyone else, and then the morning happens. So 6 o'clock, I believe Alezi would be awake, and Rhodes is already at the Rainy Day Tavern.
Right. Alezi's just getting her morning coffee.
Mm-hmm. Rhodes, you would not see the proprietor of the tavern here in the morning. You'd see a girl in her early 20s, possibly late teens, who's managing the counter and taking care of breakfast.
Oh, can I retro something really quick?
What's that?
That we totally told Ben that we would not be working the next day.
Yeah, that's a reasonable thing to retroactively do.
Okay.
As a
I think we actually already knew that in the last episode, because you made us pay for not working.
I made you pay for not working for that day. Yesterday. Now we're talking about.
You're talking about this day, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
As I walk in, then I'm going to head over to the girl and introduce myself. Hello. I've not seen you. I'm Rhodes.
Good morning, Mr. Rhodes. Can I get you anything?
Do you have tea?
We do. I'm Lily, by the way.
Lily. Pleasure to meet.
Alezi, in a groggy but loud voice, just calls over. He's a good friend of mine.
Yes.
Good to know. Well, I'll get you some tea in just a moment. Go ahead and take a seat. I'll bring it out to you.
Thank you, Lily. And Rhodes is gonna go sit by Alezi. Any luck waking the others?
I didn't try. I suspect Flynn might have had some trouble falling asleep with his wounds. And, Oona just needs a rest.
Well, I would make an attempt if you'd like.
We'll give him a little bit.
At this point, Lily brings out the tea.
Oh, thank you.
It's not high quality stuff, but it's still tea.
That's fine.
Just, let me finish this cup and I'll go with you.
Alright, that's fine.
Hey.
If either of you would like something to eat, just let me know. You two are the only ones down this early.
Yeah, thanks, Lily.
Oona comes hopping down the stairs really excitedly, in contrast to the previous days she's been awake.
Good morning, Oona.
Good morning!
Huh, you seem happy.
We're going to go and find a missing nobleman. That sounds so cool.
Oona caught the smell of adventure.
It's not going to be quite as glamorous as you imagine.
I suspect the drain does not smell as good as the adventure.
I mean, that's just the kind of things they don't tell you about in the books, but I still think it's going to be really exciting. Who does not love a good mystery?
Right. Have you caught up on writing your book?
Oh, I'm always caught up on writing my book.
You're writing a book?
I'm writing many books. I'm a bard, dear, and one of my bardic dreams, in case you did not know this, is that I want to write the best book.
Best?
The best book.
What do you imagine is in the best book?
Well, I told her I would sit down and reminisce about how I got all my scars, but she didn't take me up on that offer.
Sounds kind of
going
fun
to reschedule that. But actually, Docs, is there any like Magnus Opus writings in Tal'Marai?
Tal'Marai, sure.
I
It's Tal'Marah.
Shut up.
It ends with
Like,
A.
I
Sure, there are definitely masterpiece writings out there. They'd be comparable to the kind of things that you see in the real world. Like there'd be like one of the more popular ones would be a very. It's very similar to think of Moby Dick combined with Call of Cthulhu. A tale of a sea captain who went hunting some great beast that supposedly slept under the waves, and it eventually led to supposedly they at the end of the book is that they kill each other, but it's some kind of strange whale-like creature, but with tendrils and the things. Scholars have actually theorized that it might be an aboleth that he was hunting. And you would need an Arcana roll to know about more what an aboleth is, but we're getting way off track. That's the kind of books that come out. A lot of it, there's a taste for high adventure right now. Previous generations had books that would be similar to, say, Tom Sawyer, a more low-key examination of a relatively normal life, but the current trend is definitely towards more high adventure.
Okay.
So, Rhodes' question still stands. What do you imagine is in the best book?
We're going to find out.
Alright. Alright, I guess that's an answer.
The thrill of reading something new is got its merit.
Alezi, do you read?
I read. Sometimes.
Wow.
That was judgmental of me, I'm sorry.
I've punched you in the face a few times back in the day. I guess I
You
deserve
can take
it.
another swing. I deserve it. That was wholly closed off of me.
You're fine.
So where's Flynn? When do we get started? I thought we were all meeting at 6.
I wanted to give the guy a little time to rest. He did take a beating yesterday.
He seemed fine when I talked to him last night.
Yeah, well, he's a little he's a little more fleshy than I am.
I'll let Alezi and Oona do an insight check, and Flynn to do a deception check.
Good luck, guys. My deception's high.
Good luck, I'm hiding behind 7 deception proxies.
I have no insight.
Alezi is literally just going on the fact he got beat up, and he usually sleeps late. So.
Yeah. Well, there might be more information. Oh.
Jeez, Alezi.
Oh.
Alright, so Alezi got a 21, which is pretty good, but then Flynn got a 24, which is better. So yeah, I have nothing to add.
Okay, I'll also note that Alezi did see something no one else saw when she went to his room.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Before.
I'm not going that's not enough for advantage. Yeah, this stands. I have nothing to add.
Awesome.
Are our rooms close together, or are they fairly far apart?
They'd be close-ish. You guys would be like in the same hallway, but you're not next to each other.
Okay. I'm not gonna ask to do anything retroactive. I'll just keep that in mind for next time.
Okay.
I feel like everyone would be used to loud patrons of the tavern, though we would.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like, I mean, you're in a loud part of town. I'm actually modeling Shadeside off of a part of San Francisco that I used to live in, and there was noise at all hours. So by now you guys would probably be more or less used to hearing shit at night.
Well, then breakfast?
Yeah. Let's have a breakfast, and if he's not down by then, we'll go get him.
Okay.
Alright, so asking Lily for breakfast, she's got the breakfast selection here is not what the Rainy Day Tavern is known for. But you've had worse. She's got sausages and hash browns is what she recommends. She can also make you some pancakes, and she's got a small selection of seasonal fruits on offer.
Are you kidding? This is awesome. This is better than, the continental breakfast I had all week.
Hey.
I've never had a good continental breakfast.
Good question. Would this be comparable, or better or worse than the breakfast Rhodes is usually used to at the temple?
Probably worse. It's like all of the stuff that I listed is going to be low, so it's like the fruits are kind of dried up, and the sausages have definitely been are almost going bad. So the pancakes would be, and the hash browns would be good though.
Cool. Starch carb.
Yep. Yeah. So how long do you guys wait to flake Flynn?
I would guess that Alezi is a very fast eater, so she just
Probably.
Scarfs down her food and then starts making her way up there, whether or not the others are finished.
Okay. So it'd be 5-10 minutes later tops.
Yeah.
All right. So you head up to Flynn's room.
She knocks on the door rather loudly.
Flynn, is that enough to wake you up?
Probably, yeah, because I'm half asleep.
Yeah.
Hey!
What? You
up? It's way past 6.
Yeah, hang on. Don't, please don't come in, please.
Yeah, alright. Can I, just give another insight, or does that 24?
Yeah, that's enough for an insight. It also is worth noting that, Flynn, you have the key. The door would be locked unless you leave it unlocked.
Oh, what am I doing?
Please don't break down my door.
What are...
I think retroactively, his panic attack happened so quickly as soon as he closed the door. I don't think he had the wherewithal to lock it.
Fair enough.
I knew I should have gotten
That's
there.
an 17.
Alright. Flynn, I'm going to say you roll with disadvantage because you have exhaustion.
Deception again?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, then I can just do that.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Alezi, as far as you can tell, he's just not an early riser.
All right. So he's like, yeah. I came up here before the others were finished eating, so you have some time.
All right, thank you. I'll be down in a minute.
Mm-hmm. She just trudges back down the stairs.
It takes me a couple minutes to find all my stuff because it's. I'm not cleaning my room. I'm just finding my stuff to head out the door.
All right.
So it'll take me a minute to find all that.
Sure. So after a little bit, Flynn heads back, comes down to the first floor.
Oh, good morning, Flynn.
He looks like shit.
Flynn, you don't look healed at all. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just need some coffee. I'm not an early riser.
All right.
As soon as Lily sees you, she puts a cup.
Thank you, Lily.
Certainly. Do you need any food?
No, thank you.
Are you sure about that? I mean, we're kind of going on a mission here.
Oh, you guys are heading out? I can get you something to take on the road.
Yeah, that'd be great, Lily.
All right, so she packs up. It's kind of like the McDonald's hash browns. She packs up a few of those.
Yes.
What?
I love those.
Yeah, I know, right? Those are. It's ridiculous how good those are. She also packs up some dried fruits for you.
No protein, though.
I mean, that costs extra.
Rhodes still has a sausage that he tries to hand to Flynn.
Flynn would love to have Rhodes' sausage.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, we're done. Enough. Cutting that off before we even get started. All right.
Let's go, guys.
So, the drain is in the southwest part of town, and you guys are kind of north central, so it's far enough away that you probably want to take a bus or a subway. It would take you a couple of hours to walk far enough to get to the Drunken Weasel.
Let's take the subway.
I mean, sure. Whatever route gets us there faster, whether it be above ground or below.
It'd probably be faster to get to the drain itself through the subway. Yeah. So, all right. So you guys are going to head to the subway. It's very comparable to subways in real life. It's a big hub. It's definitely a big hub where a lot of people gather around the subway entrances. Especially in Shadeside, you'd see a lot of the local homeless population who are there networking and or hustling, trying to get money. You see guys trying to hawk wares that are clearly either stolen or counterfeit or something untoward. But you also see a lot of folks just keeping each other company. It's a
As a habit out of her background, Alezi is keeping a close eye for pickpockets around this area.
Of course. There's kind of a common understanding that pickpockets stay away from the subways because guards know that there are a lot of potential marks at the subways. So even this early in the morning, there's a pretty decent police department and even a couple of Reavers patrolling the area.
All right.
So,
they don't know Reavers. Roll, guys. Reavers are great.
Actually, we might as well. And yeah, I would say Rhodes would get an advantage on any rolls about Reavers, and it has a minimum result. But go ahead and roll religion if you want to know more about the Reavers of life.
Alezi also needs to roll, because Alezi won't know what Rav knows. Okay.
That's right.
Docs, did we pay for breakfast?
Yeah, I'm going to say that your standard daily maintenance is going to be 5 silver.
I don't stay there, though.
Right, but okay, for you it would be just 2 silver because you have accommodations elsewhere. So you would just be paying for food.
Alezi knows something about Reavers.
She does.
Finally Oona knows something about something.
Oona might know a lot about Reavers.
Una has probably studied Reavers.
Studied in quotation marks.
Oona needs to be the Reaver Fever.
Right, we'll establish that in a minute. So,
Wait, did I roll advantage?
You did not. Just press up and you can roll again.
Yeah. Well, shit.
Okay. Well, you still know a bit. So, that's a 10 for Flynn, a 14 for Rhodes, a 17 for Alezi, and a 21 for Oona. All right, so everybody would like the Reavers are well known. Everybody knows a little bit about the Reavers. They are an international association of basically religious do-gooders. A lot of paladins, but there are clerics, fighters. Like people of every class is welcomed within the Reavers of Light. They basically help supplement law enforcement wherever they are, and are commonly associated with tasks that local law enforcement are in over their heads on. So they you're less likely to see adventuring types within the police departments of the area as you are Reavers. Like adventuring Reavers are fairly common. Their full name is the Reavers of Light, and their symbol is a pair of crossed scythes or sickles. And at this point,
communists.
No. But Flynn might well think that, because at this point, Flynn, you need to deafen. All right, so the formation legend of the Reavers of Light is that they started as farmers, basically. The different nations have different versions of this origin story, but the basic structure is that a group of farmers were forced to defend their homesteads against an overwhelming force that they would surely be defeated against. They made some pact with some greater deity of good. Usually, it's the defender, the god of courage and warfare. And so they made some pact that in exchange for empowering their weapons so that they stand against a chance against this overwhelming force, some portion of them would take those empowered weapons and use them to protect people elsewhere. And that was how the Reavers of Light came to be. That's why scythes and farm tools feature prominently in their regalia. And they are an internationally recognized and generally well-liked group who could hold a lot more sway than they do, but are tempered in their urge to grab political power in exchange for being welcome generally wherever they're going to go. The only nation where they wouldn't really be welcome would be Hilson, the gnome nation to the southeast. And Hilson is a horrible place, and we can talk about that later. We're getting distracted. The current leader of the Reavers is a man named Cyric Bladebreak. He is a hero of the recent Leyline War, where a group of extra-dimensional invaders attempted to take over Talmarov for themselves. Cyric was well known for leading a charge that eventually led to this extraplanar organization being destroyed. He is in his late 20s right now, considered by many the most eligible bachelor in the land, and also a very public figure who has done a lot of public appearances trying to drum up support for the Reavers. And let's see, at this point, I think everybody's at this point rolled high enough that they can get some questions in.
Bladebreaker, what was his first name again?
Cyric. Cyrick.
Okay.
Please do not mispronounce it.
I have heard it pronounced Cyric, Kyrick, Cyric. It is Cyric.
Cyric.
Yes. I actually kind of like Kyrick, though.
Kyrick
If he ever gets,
cool.
Yeah, if he like, it may come up at one point that he'll be like, I like Kyrick. Can I be Kyrick now? And the answer will be no.
Okay, so you said they were generally a well-liked group. Would you, like, if you had to give it a real-world comparison, would the Crusaders be, like, an okay comparison? Because the Crusaders sucked, but...
No, not at all. As in the religious Crusaders that were trying to retake the Holy Land? Fuck no. Yeah. Those guys were assholes.
I know.
They sound more like Grey Wardens than anything.
Say what?
Grey Wardens. Dragon Age.
They're a lot less grim than the Grey Wardens. Note that I don't know Dragon Age very well. I only played the first game, but the Grey Wardens also weren't well liked either.
They were when they were like like in their prime.
Anyway, in a real world sense, think more like an organization like, say, Doctors Without Borders. Like, they're there to help, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Any other questions before I ask Rhodes to silence?
Nah, I'm good.
All right, Rhodes, Stefan? I guess with Alezi, the main thing would be to note that you've definitely, as a former member of a police force, you've definitely worked with the Reavers. They're a very military organization. They have a hierarchy that that the rank and file are expected to follow quite closely. But you also know that there are individuals within the Reavers. These are the more adventurer sorts who sometimes operate outside this hierarchy. So they have a hierarchy, but they're flexible about it when they need to.
And she was there when the Reavers came in and pretty much saved Northwall's ass, right?
Yes, actually, she would have been in there when the Reavers broke the Null Siege.
Awesome. I'm going to say that she was still in the watch at that point.
Fair enough. So she would have seen action then. You would also be familiar with the term Reaver Fever, of course, which is a colloquial term for anybody who is infatuated with with a member of the Reavers, and it is a fairly common thing. They cut a very heroic figure. So
for audience reference, my other character in another game has Reaver Fever very badly.
In a big way. All right. Any other questions before I tell you to silence?
Nope. I think I'm good.
So go ahead and mute yourself. So Oona would know that the Reavers are fairly new to Joagon, but they have introduced themselves in a very savvy way. They've actually, so here on the mainland, you've heard them referred to a lot more as a religious organization, representing the Nine, especially the Defender. But in Jowagon, they've actually positioned themselves more as a secular organization. They focus more on their origin as farmers. So they've actually made themselves welcome even among the older generation. But there are a lot of young Jogans who have joined the Reavers, and let's see. So with a 20, you would know of rumors of a subgroup of the Reavers that is a lot darker, called the Order of the Black Wind. So the Reavers enforce laws and generally stick to the laws of the land. Supposedly, the Order of the Black Wind is a group of the Reavers who don't stick to the law. These are assassins and the like, who will use dirty tactics to remove people who are technically within the limits of the law but causing great suffering around the land. The Reavers officially deny this vehemently, of course, and actually talking about the OBW is a really good way to get on the Reaver shit list. But there's been enough weird things happening that involve the Reavers that it's a rumor that persists.
Okay. And then you said they're a religious organization mostly representing the Nine, right?
Yes.
Is their big thing just like enforcing the law of the land?
Their big thing is helping people where they where help needs to be had. They try to stick to laws, but if they have to go beyond the law at points, they will. But usually it's more of a, okay, this is clearly a subject of domination, or they're also well known for producing adventurers who take on monsters that standard law enforcement cannot. So, like, if you find, if there's a concern about, say, a lich, which is a type of very powerful undead in an area, the Reavers are who you call. You don't call the local, you call the local law enforcement when you need to deal with a small group of bandits or some ogres who are causing problems. When you are dealing with giants or liches or, big time monsters, you call the Reavers.
Okay, and then trying to figure out how to phrase this. I can think of how to phrase this. I'll have to ask it later because I can't think of how to phrase it in a way that makes sense.
You can just ask it in a way that doesn't make sense, and I'll try.
Considering the way we communicate, probably not.
Okay, we can table that then.
Yeah, I can ask
You've definitely, like, with over a 20, you get the leeway to ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, because like you said they produce a lot of adventures, and
Mm-hmm.
they're all about helping people. Has an event ever happened that caused the Reavers to end up being like different factions of the Reavers to be in conflict of each other? Or do they have like a higher hierarchy that goes like, no, you're not fighting, kind of thing?
So that has happened deep in the past, like we're talking, decades ago. But the current leader, Cyric, he is he's very well liked, and his authority is very well established. So, in the current age of the Reavers, that does not seem to be happening. They're very much a unified group.
Okay, and then how big are the Reavers as an organization?
It's like, within the limits of Leyline alone, they'd have like 10,000 people at least. They're a big organization. You can find, like, in any given town, the Reavers try to have at least one person posted in every town so that if something goes wrong, they can get word out. So you can find Reavers just about anywhere.
10,000's a lot. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is a city the size of San Francisco.
Yeah,
so
10,000 is still a lot. Wow.
Yeah, they're a big organization.
Okay, so like with Reavers, is everybody a Reaver, or is there like kind of like you're an apprentice Reaver and like so you're not actually a Reaver? You're just
they have a hierarchy, and they would call it earning your scythes. It's the scythe emblem. If you do have to go through a sense of training before you can call yourself a full-fledged Reaver.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it. I'm good. I think we have to wrap up anyway.
Yeah, we need to start wrapping up.
No.
All right, so we need to start wrapping up. So, any other questions before we get going?
I think I'm good.
All right, so you guys head to the subway, and that's where we were. We were talking about the guards posted around subways to keep explicitly illegal activities from going on. But they do unless they're causing trouble, they do leave the various homeless and riffraff who are plying their various trades around the subway stations alone. So it's like these subway stations have been generally considered safe spaces for people to congregate. This early in the morning, you find mostly people heading into the subway to leave Shadeside. There'll be people who are working in other parts of the city that are a little better off, more employable. It's of course a Monotech subway. It's a big cart that it would look very similar to our own, like a subway you would see in real life. Metallic with a lot of windows for people to peer out, and they're operated by engineers who mostly let the trains run themselves. And so you guys are, it's going to cost you each 1 silver to get tickets. So you guys all hit on the subway, and you have to wait you have to let a couple of trams pass by because there are not a lot of subways going to the drain. It is not a popular destination. And as you get aboard, you find that the car you're in is fairly empty. And so I think that as you guys get on the train and head to the drain, that's going to be where we stop today's session.
All right.
Yay, murder mystery, probably.
Cool.
All right, good stuff. Very information-heavy session, but that's going to happen sometimes, and I'm always happy to talk about my setting. So we got a couple of minutes for table talk?
Yeah.
I probably need to leave as soon as possible to get ready.
Okay.
But,
well,
yeah, I can just sign off.
Let's go ahead and... Yeah, let's go. Like, do you have anything you wanted to say about the session before you sign off?
That I very much enjoyed it, and it's good to be back after our break, even though the audience didn't get a break.
Yeah, we've been pretty good about uploading the backlog, so I think at least by the time this goes up, maybe I've fucked it up. We'll see. Hopefully not. But yeah, this was a good session, and I'm glad to be back as well. Go ahead and do your advertising stuff, and we'll go ahead and let you go.
Right, so, as I said, it was really great playing Alezi again. This has been KQ. I have a Patreon. You can find me at patreon.com/KQD, and all of my links are there. And you can also find the links in the description below the video.
Indeed.
Alright, so,
All right, thanks for playing.
yeah, thanks for having me. And great session, guys. See you later.
Take it easy.
Yeah, have fun.
Bye.
Go see scary clowns.
Oh, is she going to see it?
Yep.
I've heard good things.
I like how the actual clown has a weird shaped head.
Oh, you like that?
I think it makes him more off-putting.
Well, we're not here to talk about it. We can do that after we're done recording. Anything you guys have to say about the session?
So much information in one episode.
Oh, God.
I've written all over my sketchbook because I was like, I can't not have notes. I'm not gonna know what's going on.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's probable that you will have the next session before this goes up on YouTube, so you have to remember it instead of have a reference. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
That's the price of having a backlog.
We have to go back and re-listen to everything anyway.
Mm. Okay, well, Flynn, I really appreciate you actually having Flynn panic like that. It actually makes a lot of sense that he would be in trouble, especially considering that his background has undead as being a particularly bad thing, which is not the case for everyone else here, actually.
Yeah, he's not as collected as he's been showing everyone.
Yeah, you're playing that very well, I think. I'm very pleased with how Flynn's developing.
I wish I had beaten KQ to the punch with coming up to get him, because I was going to be like, oh, after 10 minutes, Oona is like springing up there, because Oona was absolutely going to come in. She was going to try and open that door.
Unfortunate. That would have been a funny scene. Oh well.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. Could have taken that a different way, but she was already talking, so I was like, I should let her do it. Like, damn it. It would have been so much fun.
Oh well.
I'm confident that the shit will hit the fan before long. And
yeah, and so am I. For reasons that you don't know yet. Foreshadowing. I'm totally not going to destroy you.
I'm looking forward to seeing the undead in just a different part of the... I'm interested in seeing what the drain's going to be like.
Yeah, I have images that I'm going to use to guide my description up right now. I've been trying to think of a way to actually get images into the game, because in my text-based game I link to images of character and scenery all the time, but I'm not sure how I would do that on this audio show where there's a lot of I could do annotations for YouTube, but I don't expect to keep this just on YouTube forever, you know. Well, and also there's also the issue of artist permission.
Yeah. Well, for us, you can put it in the art channel for now.
Yeah, definitely.
But then what you can also you can set up a slideshow whenever you upload it to YouTube.
That's true. There are ways to make it happen, but they're all work and editing. That I'm the one who does all the editing here, so that's already a lot of work. I would want some assistance with that, I think, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, I do usually have an image up to guide my descriptions. Like the woman who gave Flynn that unsolicited advice the other session. I have a picture of her ready to go. Not to say that you'll ever see her again or anything.
Hey, I might need to go shopping, and then you're gonna have to remember that shopkeep's name, because I intend
Griselda.
To go back to her. Oh, damn it.
Yep. I wrote that shit down.
Alright, well, I am looking forward to the next session, and hopefully we'll be able to play it sooner rather than later.
Indeed. We'll talk about scheduling that in the Discord chat later, when KQ gets back. So yeah, let's do the sign out. So KQ's already done hers. I'm Proven Paradox. I don't really have anything else going on right now other than this, and if you are listening to this, then you know how to reach me, so we're done. Red, how about you?
What about me?
Do you have stuff you want to advertise?
No, I've got a Twitter I barely use at Red of the Wolves, and a Tumblr that runs itself on a queue at ADHD Alistair. Yeah, I'll probably become more active as the school year picks in, and maybe I'll start doing creative things that I can actually pimp. I'm a very boring person when it comes to creating things. I don't draw.
I mean, I don't draw either, but I don't know. We'll see. I have a couple of things in mind that I might get you involved in. We'll see.
Cool. I know there's a streamer who's gonna do a D&D stream that I'm being headhunted for. So.
Oh, nice. You definitely have my blessing to talk about that when that gets started. Scott, how about you?
I'm Scott, known as Squirrel Bro in a lot of places. I've got my webcomic as always, betweenthelines.comic.com. I don't know when this episode will go up, so this is probably irrelevant, but it's actually going on temporary hiatus until October 1st, so I can catch up with a little bit of it.
This will probably go up before then.
Okay. And patreon.com/squirrelbro. That's pretty much it for what I do.
All right, cool. And finally, Renee, what's up?
Hey, so you guys know me. I'm Renee. I have my brand new Patreon. It's going to be down in the links below. But you can find all of my links through there: my YouTube, my Instagram, my Twitter, my Tumblr. I want to say that's everything, but I know that's not. But it's all going to be down below, so definitely go check that out.
Indeed. All right, cool. I don't want to do this, but I feel like I kind of need to mention it. Please like, comment, and to subscribe and all of that annoying stuff that you hear on YouTube. And do check us out on Twitter at Bag of Bastards, which Renee is handling since I've got my hands full with the editing for this show, and she's probably better suited to this anyway since I'm kind of a jackass. I totally didn't splice this in after the recording because I forgot to mention it while I was shilling. These are not the droids you are looking for. At least I saved it for the end. Come on. But yeah, I do want to get an audience for this, so share it around if you know of people who might be interested in our shenanigans, and just I want to build an audience. If we don't, that's okay, but I would still like to. So I'm not going to say that often, and I'm never going to say it at the beginning because I know that's annoying, but it does help to get us an audience. So there we go. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. I know I enjoyed DMing. I hope you guys enjoyed playing, and I hope listeners enjoyed listening. Thank you very much, and until next time.